welcome to Positively Entertaining Conversations. And this is your host, Guru, Oliver, and sometimes curious guest, Mappa.
Mappa!
It might be like an old question. And
Okay.
what car would you want to drive when you got your driver's license?
What car would I want to drive? An 80s model Monte Carlo.
I don't know what that is.
It's a really cool car. What would you want to drive?
I would want to drive a Ford F100,
A Ford F100. What color?
dark red.
You know what my favorite pickup is?
What?
Silverado.
Again, I don't know what that is. I forgot.
Well, you'll have to look it up. So what else you want to talk about?
I also want to ask you another question.
Okay.
Did you used to play video games when you were a kid?
I did not play video games when I was a kid. I played video games when I became a young adult. So
What video
I
games did you
didn't play my first video game until I was, let's see. I played a friend's video game. I played Super Mario with my friend Amy when I lived in Spearman, and so I was probably 10 or 11. So that was the first time I played a video game. I didn't actually own a video game until I was 19, and my very first video game system was a Super Nintendo, and it was Mario Paint.
Wait, was it SNES or NES?
I remember that.
It was a Super Nintendo.
Oh.
So it was SNES.
Wow.
And then I got a Nintendo 64.
When?
When I was 22.
And what year then?
Well, you do the math. I was born in 1976.
So you got it when you were 22.
Mm-hmm.
That was like 2000.
Nope.
What? Hold on.
$1998.
What?
Well,
Wait,
do the math.
I think I actually did 78. Oh my god.
Yeah, your math skills are lacking this
I
morning.
accidentally did 78 instead of 76.
That's okay.
Dang it.
We all accidentally do so. So we had a big storm the other day, and you were at the public pool.
It wasn't the other day. It was like...
What is the other day? The day not today. So the other day we had a big storm and you were at the public pool, right?
Yes, we were going to go in, but they said they're closing due to a storm. And they wanted to stay here till one of y'all answered, maybe. And,
Oh, so they called us?
they tried to, but the thing was, the thing was acting dumb, and they tried to text, Alicia and me and Liam's mom.
Mm. And so they couldn't get anyone?
No.
Yeah.
And then I was like...
I was at work. I was in session. So they need to have Mom's phone number, huh?
Yeah, and they were gonna walk their bikes, and I was gonna ride. I was like, no, I'm not dealing with this. And then right when I was riding, I saw a lightning strike.
Yeah, that was scary, huh?
Yeah, and I told them I saw lightning, and then we rushed home.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good evening, fellow listeners. Welcome to the Positively Entertaining Conversation show. Our discussions are real. Our people are real. So come, join us for some laughs and maybe some tears. Join our family on this magical rainbow ride. Please welcome my brother from another mother, my friend, my confidant, Guru Brando, and his curious guest, we just don't know. So it is time to sit back and enjoy the show.
I naturally talk loud. Look at that. I'm all up in the red.
Yes, you are.
Okay, baby. So I got some cool stuff to do today.
What's that?
You look nervous. Nervous is good. Okay, well, first we have to welcome our guests. Welcome to Positively Entertaining Conversations. I'm your host, Guru Brando, and this is my more permanent guest, my wife. What's your name?
Lady Elizabeth Autumn McReynolds Rose.
You are Lady, and I am Lord. It seems really weird to say Lord, so I just use Guru instead. So I'm Guru, and you're Lady, right? Okay, it's better than Master.
Yes.
Because technically,
Lord Brando.
But technically, in my field, I'm a master practitioner, and so I would be called Master, and that's really uncomfortable. So I call myself Guru. Okay, so what all do you call yourself? Besides Lady, besides Mom, besides Wife? What else do you call yourself?
Student.
Student. What else? The one you're most famous for.
What am I famous for? Soldier?
I was going to say cook, but yeah.
Oh.
You're infamous for your cooking skills, and you are famous for being a soldier. Now, when I say the word famous, what does that conjure in your mind?
I can take it down to my level where it's, like at the family level. And famous pretty much just means that everybody knows,
who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's not like I'm famous or anything like that.
Okay, but you are though. You are famous. You've been in newspapers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kiss heard around the world. You've been on the news, with me. What else would say that you're famous outside of our little house? Besides media, because that's what I was talking about, media. So what else makes you famous outside of our house?
I don't know.
Word of mouth, right? Not just media, but socialization, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you hang out with people, all of a sudden you become famous for things that you do.
Oh.
What are you famous for in our circle of friends with Mandy and Chris?
Making beer, maybe.
Okay, so your perception is that you might be famous for making beer because that's something that you do. So that is also another facet besides wife and mom and student, right? And chef. You're a beer brewer. Do you enjoy your beer?
I do.
What's your favorite part of brewing?
I think my favorite part of brewing is just actually the brewing portion of it. You're checking the temperatures, and you're making sure that, it's got to be between like 150 and 155 for a certain amount of time when you're steeping grains, and so it's a little bit of chemistry, and that's a lot of fun.
Chemistry is fun. I've been saying that for years. You never believed me.
I don't recall
Beth didn't like
disputing
school.
that.
Beth
I
did
didn't
not like school.
That's okay.
She didn't like math. She didn't like science. She didn't like
actually, I
anything.
did like science. I did. I just didn't like
science.
math
Is where you and I met.
Yeah.
Is that why you like science?
Absolutely.
Yes. Good job. And the science class we met in was Coach Music. So that's interesting that we both have a strong tie to music, and where we actually met was in science class.
That's funny.
Coach, you never thought of that?
Not until just now.
Well,
Coach music. Oh, Lord.
I think a lot. Well, okay. I think sometimes. All right. So I have something fun for us to do. I have to position myself where I'm comfortable so I don't look all fidgety like you. And you got to stop squeaking the chair. We're going to have to pause it and WD-40 it.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was squeaking the chair.
It drives me nuts. How do you not realize it? Did you just hear it? I just heard it. Okay. So I have in my hand one of my clients, which y'all know if y'all watch the podcast, Toby. I had a visit from Toby and his dad, Andy. So they plan to be on a podcast soon. But in the meantime, because school's starting and there's a whole lot of scheduling conflicts, in the meantime, Andy gave me a folder of questions that he's a teacher, so he asks his students some of these questions. They're pretty damn amazing. Like, these questions are great. And when I have Toby and Andy on, I'm going to ask Toby some of the questions. What I decided to do, instead of go through them and pick a question, I picked a stack of them, and you're going to pick your own question, and we're going to discuss.
All right.
Is the nervousness even more now?
Yeah.
Oh, it should
I don't
be.
know
These
what
are really
questions.
good. Okay. So I'm not going to let you see the questions.
Well, how am I supposed to pick them?
Exactly. You're
So
going to
like
pick
pick a
them
card,
like
any
a
card,
card.
okay.
Yeah.
That's no fun. I wanted to read each question and then
I
pick
know
the one
you
I wanted
did.
to answer.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way with me. I am never that easy. Whatever. Okay, so now I am fanning them out. For those of y'all who are not watching, I have a stack of papers and I'm fanning them out. And Beth is getting ready to pick her poison. So thank you, Andy, because this is fun. All right. Ha 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 ha. Let's do this.
I hate this.
I know. That's why I love it so much. Okay. Don't look at it yet. Now, just for perspective, before you actually read your question, I'm going to read you what my main pick was. So then this looks much better, because whatever this is better than what I was going to ask you. So this will be a question that we will discuss later, probably not on this podcast, but we'll see. So the question that I actually wanted to discuss was, what is your favorite memory? Be detailed. Where were you? What happened? What else was there? What did they do? What happened next?
Oh.
Yeah.
I have several favorite memories. And
We're not talking about that. And see?
I have a few.
Okay, so that's why I didn't, I was going to let you pick. All right. You ready to read your question?
God.
Here, I'll read it. Oh, even better.
I don't like that face.
Okay. Are you ready? Let me assume my position here. Okay, shit's about to get real, y'all. Get ready. What is your very earliest childhood memory? Wait. Be detailed. Where were you? What happened? Who else was there? What did they do? What happened next? I will leave this here for reference for you. Gosh, this is going to be fun, guys.
My earliest childhood memory. That's tough.
Oh, wait. Before we carry on, we're fixing that chair.
Oh, because I keep rocking it.
Hold on, guys. Okay, guys, we're back. Beth had to change chairs because that one was annoying as crap to me with the squeaking. All right, so we have the question, and you've had a minute to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my earliest memory, and it's really hard to tell because I have to go back to the memories that, that really, all I can remember is just maybe a small bit of it, because there wasn't a whole lot I was really aware of it, way back then. And like I can remember a lot when I was 5, but
Okay.
prior to that I don't remember, very much.
Okay.
But I do remember going to watch Star Wars in the theater in Germany.
Wow, such a nerdy memory. I don't know why I thought it would be not nerdy.
I think that's the oldest memory I have.
That's why I married you, because you're a nerd. I love that.
And Star Wars came out in 1977. I was born in 1976, and it takes at least a year, I think, 6 months to a year for a movie at that time to make it to where we
But
were.
you were in Germany, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was
you could
probably
actually look up
It
where
would have
you
been
watched
78
it.
or 79.
Well, you could look up where did you go to watch it?
Oh, Lord.
Because see,
I was
one of the questions is where.
We were probably in Berlin.
But you don't remember what movie theater? Was it on Post?
It was like
Look at them.
Gosh, it's been so
Tell
long. Trying to describe, you remember what the apartments look like in Germany.
Yes,
and how
I
it's
do.
sort of a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And
It's, well, anybody who's familiar with military posts
Yeah.
understands that.
where we were, it was, it was very similar to that. There were some differences, of course. I think it opened up to the economy much easier. There wasn't like, you didn't have to go through guard gate or anything.
Yeah, I got you.
And I think the only time that I remember ever going through a guard gate was when we went into East Berlin. That was interesting. But the earliest memory I have is watching Star Wars. We went to the theater. I do not remember who took me. I know it wasn't my parents. It was somebody else. I want to say it was like my mom's friend Donna, who was a really good family friend. And a lot of those times when I was really young, my parents, had problems. There's a lot of domestic violence. And so I think that, it might have been something like that. I could be way off base as far as who took me. But I do remember seeing it. I remember seeing the part where they were R2-D2 and C-3PO, where they escaped their ship that's being captured by the
I know that part.
Star
You
Destroyer.
tell them, don't tell me.
And I remember we walked there because we walked by McDonald's. And there was something about, the way that area smelled that I remember.
Fast food. Yeah.
It was like fast food and garbage.
So it smelled like a county fair?
I was like this tall, so whenever I walked by a garbage can, it was right at my face.
So it smelled like a county fair,
basically.
Right? So it smelled like fast food and garbage. I love that. Okay. So who else was there? You and Donna? That was it?
Well, honestly,
what you remember? This is all based on your earliest memory.
I know that she used to take me and my sister places while we were there, and I can't quite remember ever looking up to see whose face it was, whose hand I was holding, and I don't know. I think I was just too young to have all those details. It was just some bright, flashy thing that I remember. It's almost an image.
So how old would you have been? You were born in 76, and this was what, 78?
It was probably 78, 79.
Okay, so 78, 79.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's like legit what you can remember. Do you remember what happened next?
No. It's all like, that's just it. It's like a memory in the dark. You look in the dark and you see a sort of image and you squint to see it. That's that memory.
But it was the most impressionable memory to you, and you look at your age. Did you ever think that our kids might remember something that happened when they were 2?
I believe Bubby would. Bubby's got like the memory of an elephant.
Yeah, he it's one of his superpowers. It's Oliver has a superpower with dates and electronics, and Quentin has this superpower that I totally don't get at all, but he has a few. One, he can remember like weird, insignificant things. Like the strangest, most insignificant, he can remember a cobweb hanging in a corner of a building that he can't remember. He only remembers the cobweb, not the building, not the location, but that one insignificant thing is what he remembers out of the whole. It could be Disneyland. We could have taken him to Disneyland, and he'd have no concept of Disneyland, but he would remember the spider web and be able to describe it as if he were looking at it. That is a real superpower. It really is. So my earliest memory, if I really think hard, is being in my mom and dad's waterbed between the two of them, and my dad saying, "You wet the bed again." And I had no idea what the significance of that memory was until I actually mentioned it one time to my sister, or to my sister, and my dad was present. And he said he absolutely hated waterbeds, and occasionally he would elbow to move around in bed. You use your elbows, and he'd elbow it, and it would put a little tear in it, and it would leak. And it turns out when he said that to me, it wasn't actually me peeing the bed, it was the waterbed leaking. He didn't even know what kid was in bed. Right. And we've been there where the kids have been between us, and it's like, we don't know who you are. We're just accepting it. It's like, you're here, all right, we'll try not to squash you. And I think that very much that's what, it was, is here's this memory that I have of my dad asking me, if I wet the bed again. And And I don't even have any memories of wetting the bed. And you know, I've asked my siblings and, you know, my mom, and I didn't actually wet the bed for a long time. You know, I mean, I was potty trained. So
Right.
I believe that this time period had to have been when I was being potty trained.
Right.
You know, that would make the most sense to me. So I would figure it was probably about the same age that you remember. So I was probably, I don't know, I was maybe 3 or 4. I only say that because I don't think I was potty trained
Right.
well until I was 3. And the house that we lived in at the time was a house that burned.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's where I was and what happened and who else was there and what did they do and what happened next. The only thing that I remember that happened after that was that I was wet and I got out of bed. That's all I remember. So, you know, that's my earliest memory. Do you have a favorite memory?
I have several really.
Okay, let's do this. What's your favorite childhood memory, your favorite teenage memory, and your favorite adult memory?
Okay.
Break it up.
Oh, childhood memory.
Oh, look, you see my paints? I'm wearing my favorite paints. My stretchy paints.
I think one of my favorite childhood memories was me and my cousin and a couple of friends riding bikes through the trailer park, sharing a soda back and forth.
That's mono. God.
We didn't get mono.
Okay, I got mono, so now I'm all weird.
We got
about
nothing
it.
but an empty can of soda that eventually went to the bottom of somebody's shoe.
Well, you know what? That's better than mono. Mono is awful. And it's a real thing. I never thought it was a real thing. Okay, so what was your favorite then teenage memory? I know what it is because you've told me. It was a gift that you got that you didn't believe that you were going to get, and you got it and you couldn't believe it. What one gift did you want more than anything in the world?
Well, at that time, when I was
In
a
your
teenager,
teenage
it
years.
was that Metallica box set.
Yeah, and that's what you told me. You were like, the day that you got that was like the greatest moment.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah, I was so deep into Metallica at the time. You know, I was a fanboy basically. You know, you just asked me a Metallica fact and I knew it.
Why did they appeal to you so much?
It was something in the music. You know, especially listening to the Puppets album. You know, it really connected with me, and you know, and so it's just that was the only way I could like give that energy back to the band was to learn as much about them as I could.
So it was about investment. You were really invested in them because you felt like they gave you so much.
Yeah.
So when was the defining moment where you were like, I'm a little fanatical about it? Because you called yourself a fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
And fanboy means fanatic.
I think that whenever I started to diversify my music, and this really happened relatively recently. I mean,
yeah, I can attest to that.
For the
You
longest
were-
time, it wasn't like I just listened to Metallica. I just listened to one style of music,
Metal, that was it.
and I kind of pigeonholed myself. And so when I started to expand the kind of music I like, listening to different things, I started to discover that wow, I kind of deprived myself of a lot.
I think the defining moment for you was when I looked at you and told you that your kids and I liked music that you didn't like, but yet we always listened to your music.
Yeah.
That's when you finally were like, oh, there's other music? And we're like, yeah, we don't even listen to 80s music. We only listen to it because of you.
I listen to a lot of things now.
Right, but how did that make you feel when we told you that?
Well, it just made me reflect on the fact of the matter. What did I know about music? You
And
know,
so
and
that's-
the only way I could get that feeling to go was to listen to different kinds of music.
So would you agree then that the people in your circle are the people that help you to evolve? They give you diverse options and opportunities, and ultimately it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to advance with them. right? So it's much easier for you to listen to family and advance with family because you love your kids and you're going, oh, they like something different. I'll check it out. You know, he likes something different. I'll check it out. What prevented you from doing that when you were younger? You know what I'm saying? Because if you look to family to be the ones that tell you, you know, what your opportunities and options are, if you look to your family for that diversity, how come you didn't have that diversity when you were young? Because you were really with your family all the time.
Yeah. The standard music in the house was country and western, because that's all Dad would really hear. Ellen, she came in and she, added some a little bit more classic rock to it, and that was nice.
Okay, people don't know who Ellen is. Ellen is your stepmom.
Yes.
Yes.
And,
she's a great lady.
She added a lot of rock to the general music. And and I appreciated that, and I think that's and then when I grew into my teenage years and I got out of the '80s, sort of pop music and stuff like that, and I found something that was so much more raw, than
it touched you emotionally is what happened, right?
Yeah.
Because
it spoke to I was angry and it spoke to that.
In case you don't know, and I know that you know, Beth, but in case listeners or viewers don't know, we typically change our lifestyles based on our knowledge, right? I mean, that can be a safe assumption. You change your lifestyle based on your knowledge of what it looks like.
Yes.
Okay. So doesn't it stand to reason that if you start changing who you are emotionally, your thought processes, all that stuff, then stuff in your lifestyle would start to change. Like your diet changes, the way that you communicate changes. Some people text, some people don't. Also, your taste in music. So all of those things change when you experience personal growth. One way or another, you can either grow, better ideas, or you can grow more destructive ideas, right? So you can grow in a negative way and in a positive way. Because even negative growth is what? Growth. So even if you grow in a negative way, it doesn't mean you've made a mistake. It means that you now have a view of something else, right? Like, I started doing forensics before I did life coaching. Why do you think I would do that?
Well, at the time I understood it as you had an interest in trying to obtain a career, in that department.
Right. But you had no idea, though, that I wanted to go the life coach route, because I just kept all of that shit on lockdown. When I first started life coaching, it was a little bit embarrassing, because the old stereotype of, you have some shit in your life and then you become a life coach, right? Okay, so I wanted to make sure that life coaching was actually a calling for me and not that. Yeah. Not, I had shit in my life, blah, blah, blah.
It works the same way with music,
Right.
A real, the artists that really touch you is because they also have their own crap that they've gone through.
So, yeah, if you think about it, people who write music, poetry, artists in general, they're all life coaches because we look to them for a feeling, don't we? We look to art for inspiration. Mm-hmm. We also look to it for comfort. So you look towards art the same way that you do your parent, life coach, teacher. You learn something from it. Yeah? Okay. So if I did forensics first, it gave me a view of the worst, right? This is the worst of humanity. This is what can happen if you fail yourself, right? Because forensics, you're dead. So that's the only way you can really fail yourself in this lifetime is to die, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you fail yourself if you die at 100 years old, right? You're not really failing yourself, but all of your decisions lead up to your successful life. So if you wanted to live to be 100, then you're successful. You haven't failed, right? So death doesn't mean failure, but letting yourself die before you're ready, right? And that's usually accidents. So I'm really kind of just talking about accidents and trauma in that situation. So I looked at life coaching and I was like, this is the worst of humanity. This is where we go wrong. So if I look at that first, then the stuff that we do right looks really great. Yeah, kind of like what I did earlier with the questions. I held like this really intense question and kind of held it in my hand in case you picked it, so you didn't pick it, I was prepared. And so you picked one out of the other ones that is so much less significant than the one that I had. The one that I had was very, very deep. And this one, not so much, right? It's sort of the same way. I know as a teenager, you had an idea, because we're talking about your earliest childhood memories and your favorite one, right? And your favorite one from childhood or from teenagers was the box set of Metallica. And it led to an awareness, though. And that awareness was that you were a fanatic at one point about it. You explained why you were so fanatical, because they touched you emotionally. You were an angry person, and it touched you in that way. They spoke to you because they were angry too, right? What do you remember hearing in Metallica or any of the other metal that said to you that this is angry, that this is what's appealing to me?
One of the first songs that really connected with me on that album was called Leper Messiah, and it's about the falsehoods of religion. And it's sung in a very angry way, because James Hetfield's family was very religious, and they took on certain religious doctrines that prevented his mom from getting medical attention, and she died.
Okay. And so he has a lot of angst towards religion. And so did you.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Tell me why you had so much angst about religion.
I think that for the first, part of my life, it was trying to figure out which one was the right one, like I guess many people do. And then eventually I figured out, after I started to find, little holes in the stories as I started to actually read the book. It's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, this doesn't make sense.
Now, when you say holes in the story, we are just talking about you. We're talking about us.
Just me.
This
is my point of view.
Right, and here's the thing. Neither one of us holds a religious affiliation. And the reason we don't is because we follow nature's laws. We choose to follow nature's laws first when it comes to our thoughts and our feelings, right?
Right.
And our thoughts and our feelings are our spirit. So we are spiritualists who look to nature to find that divinity, that divine feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you fast forward through your religious contempt, you can understand that you had that because of all the diversity that you were getting at once.
Yeah, and what I determined was that religion, as I understood it, was man's doctrine.
Yeah.
And I wanted something that was deeper than that.
So you wanted your own knowledge.
Yeah, I wanted it to be personal. You
right.
can't be personal if you have to have a go-between. Well, I got to go see a priest in order to talk to God.
Yeah.
No, every day I go outside. And every day I commune with nature.
Yeah. And for us, or for me, I don't want to speak out of turn, but for me, you have Mother Nature and you have Father Time. And Mother Nature and Father Time had this wonderful, fantastic baby called humanity, right? So we live our lives, Beth and I live our lives based on the principles of Mother Nature first. Because Mother Nature is the creator, right? So we are all nature. So if Mother Nature created us, Father Time is what governs us. So you have your feminine energy that's soft and subtle, the subtle realm, the emotions. And then you have your masculinity that is your physical manifestation. So here you have these two energies that literally everyone possesses because the universe possesses it, right? Mm-hmm. So if the universe has positive light and negative light, feminine energy and masculine energy, and we are all created equally, and we're created in this image. If you are a Christian, you believe we're created in the image of God. So to us, God would be the universe, the universal energy, Mother Nature.
Yeah. The one thing that can't be created nor destroyed.
Right. If we are created in Mother Nature's image, and we are created as the universe is, we all have within us little universes. You know, and that's the truth. We all, on a cellular level, if you just keep breaking us down, we are all the same matter. Right?
Mhm.
And that's what
Very
forensics taught me. So I did forensics first. And I knew as a teen, my favorite memory was going through and trying to figure out who did what. It was that mystery all the time. I was always seeking answers.
Yeah.
So I'm like a lifelong learner. I love seeking answers.
I like that. A lot of the things that we believe in, are also proven.
Yeah.
It's also scientific fact.
Yeah. My favorite memory as a teen was exploring humanity, because that's what I did. If you really think about it, and you know how we like to dress up resumes, right? And we like to say, like, what's one that we've talked about? Like, you are, instead of you're just a mom or a housewife, you're a home manager, you're a chauffeur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can dress up any title, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can absolutely dress up whatever you want, wouldn't you want it to make sense when you did dress it up? When you said, I am a home manager. You want that to mean something. Mm-hmm. You don't want to just put the words together, right?
Right.
You want to say, okay, this is who I am. And that's why I said, that fanboy is fanatic.
Yeah.
Because if you can finally associate and understand what it is that you're actually trying to accomplish, you then try harder, don't you?
Yeah, whenever you're not kind of locked in, into a narrow belief.
So some diversity is good, but if you have too much diversity, it can overwhelm you and you can become fanatical. Mm-hmm. That's basically what I'm talking about, is because you became fanatical about music, you can become fanatical about religion, you can become fanatical about anything. And I chose to be fanatical about life. And that's how my teenage years were spent, being a fanatic about life. So I wanted every experience with every person I could possibly have. And that led me to a path of destruction, because the thing that I was seeking was validation. I wanted to feel valid in my emotions as a teen. And so did you. Wouldn't you say that that's why you became fanatical about music? Because you wanted to feel valid as a teen. Yeah, you wanted someone else to be able to identify with your feelings and your thoughts.
Yeah, and I think I found validation in music that I didn't find in people.
Yeah, and I was the opposite. I found validation in people and experience, and not in media at all. I didn't really watch a lot of TV. We had 3 channels, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a cell phone. I had a pager, but as a teen, it was all about experience. I don't think I was ever home, So for you to have a good memory of getting not just what you want, but what your calling was, because that also started you moving into adulthood. That started you wanting to play guitar.
Yeah.
You know, and so as an adult, you've gotten several favorite guitars and gotten rid of them, and you've experienced that wonderful feeling whenever you can play something, that you've looked at and you've practiced, and finally you can video it, and you've done that a few times.
Yeah, I've made some decent ones and some not so decent ones.
Everybody does, though, but there's no such thing as a mistake, and I don't know that you've always understood that, have you? Because there's no right or wrong, no beginning and end. It's only change. Our entire existence is only change, right? We change from one state to another state as far as energy goes.
Yep.
But we never stop existing. We've always been, so we don't even have an origin point. You can say that you started your life on August 21st, 1976, but that would be a lie.
It would be.
And that you started your life the same time everyone else did.
Yeah, when I woke up.
Yeah.
March 15th, 2018.
And that's when you started living, as opposed to just existing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have existed for a very long time. You've existed before August 21st, 1976. You've existed in several lifetimes before, because energy's forever. So where'd your actual energy even come from? It came from your mom and your dad. It came from Father Time. Because when we're just Mother Nature, we're just pure energy. And then Father Time comes in and brings in humanity and says, okay, you are born of Jim and Star, right? Mm-hmm. So you're born of these two humans. So then they get to dictate what happens with your energy until you take over. So you took over when? When do you declare yourself an adult? Because that's what I want to tell them before we say, okay, your memory as a child, your favorite memory as a teen. Now you have to look at when did I actually become an adult? Because that tells you what your favorite memory of adulthood is.
I think it's when I was 17 because that's when I signed up for the military in the delayed entry program.
So you view yourself as an adult when you signed up and went in?
Yeah.
I don't. I think that you were still so emotionally immature that when you signed up, basically you just stopped yourself from growing.
Yeah.
Because
I definitely
the person
wasn't.
I was married to 3 years ago was still 17.
I definitely wasn't emotionally mature.
Right.
And I can see that going all the way through my military career, as I kind of matured and grew up behind people. And yeah, I'd have to say that's the point in which I viewed myself as an adult because I was no longer going to listen to my father tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Or my stepmother or anybody. I was going to make my own decision, and then the military was going to tell me what to do for the rest of it.
Right.
So
now, so can you honestly say then that you were an adult at 17? If
No.
you look at it now.
I wasn't.
Okay, so when did you become an adult? When can you actually identify, okay,
gosh.
this is when I have become an adult?
I don't think I really became an adult until I went back in the Army the second time.
So
because
after we had the
my
kids?
motivation for it was completely different.
So you feel like you had enough maturity then to pick a job that didn't get you blown up right away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might, be someplace safe.
So
whether
then-
that ended up being true or not.
Yeah, which it was not because you went to the hottest place ever and drove a fuel truck.
That was the first time.
Didn't really work well for you that time. I don't want to go back.
That's not what I meant, though.
This is literally what you did. You're like, you go, I don't want to go back into the Army because I'll go back in as infantry. If I do that, I'll get killed and I have little kids. That's what you said. So then they were like, you know what? You could go into the Navy Reserves, and you can go into the active Navy, and if you go into the active Navy, then you can reclass and you can get back in to the Army, the green or the blue to green, right?
Well, that happened a little bit differently.
But that's how it was told.
The original idea was to join the fleet because I was like, well, I kind of grew up in the Air Force and I lived in the Army for so long, I don't really understand, the more nautical branch. So I thought I'd give it a try. And I was like, well, I'm not that old. So I was like in my early 30s.
No.
Late 20s?
You weren't, because we had the kids
like
when we were
30.
24.
Yeah.
And Alex wasn't even a year old. She was 9 months.
10 months, whenever y'all visited me in California.
Yeah, so she was 9 months. So that would have been 2002, 3.
Well, I left in 2005.
Okay, so you left in 2005. So that's when it was, 2005.
Yeah. And the idea was to go to. They said, well, since you're prior service and you have dependents, we can't just take you into the active fleet for some red tape reason.
Just how they did it.
And so they said, but there's a loophole. If you join the reserves and you go to 2 drills, and then after that you can submit some paperwork to transfer into the active fleet. I was like, oh, cool, I'll do that.
And you had already gone into the Army and had been through
I was like,
recruiters' lies.
I know these fools are telling me a lie, but let's see where it goes.
Look, you got home and told me what you did, and I looked straight at you and I said, so you're deploying? And you were like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not deploying. And I was like, so you're deploying?
So what ended up happening was I made it to 1 drill. They froze our status, and we deployed. And I didn't deploy on a ship either.
Nope. You were a CB.
Yep.
So you were essentially infantry.
So stupid.
Because you were at the airport in Balad. And which at the time the airport in Balad was really, really hot.
Yeah, I was on LSA Anaconda. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were on a small base on LSA Anaconda that was all like SOCOM heavy, and it was cool. The experience was intense at times. It's the first time I remember looking at a what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
A Middle East crescent moon.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me tell you why I brought all this to a head, because I feel like your favorite memory, and of course correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like your favorite memory in adulthood is being free from that military career.
Yeah, it took me a little while to kind
Acclimate.
of get the hooks out of me.
Yeah.
That's always a process.
But that relief that you felt
But
of
whenever
being your
yeah.
own person, finally.
When I wake up, and I know that is so far behind me now, it is relief.
Yeah. And so...
I mean, I miss the people that I met, the people that I loved. They're, my friends and my comrades. And
you missed me more.
Right. I mean, while we were deployed, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what that motivation is.
Irish me now.
Right.
I miss the time sometimes, some of the shit that we did. But that was another time. That was another me.
Yeah, it really was. And so, I feel like my favorite memory as an adult is you coming home. So I can honestly say that's my favorite memory. It's not getting married to you.
I can definitely, yeah.
It's not having the kids. It's not any of that. My favorite memory is you coming home.
When it comes to the level of excitement that I have surrounded by memory, sitting on the stupid airplane, waiting for them to open the damn door.
And then all to the kiss heard around the world. Or seen around the world. Because that's what happened. You got off.
Yeah, they were like, no PDA, no PDA. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah, and here I was, and you just couldn't resist, because I am pretty irresistible. Even as a woman, I was very irresistible. I'm just saying.
I heard about it in the Ace the next day.
What did they say to you?
They were like, everybody was like walking in, and everybody's like...
Yeah, because you got off the
How about
flight.
that PDA?
Yeah, you got off the flight and you come running in, and I was already talking to a news crew because they found me. I'd been there since like midnight, and you didn't come in till like 5, so we had a lot of time to talk, and so I didn't realize that they were going to continue filming me. So here you come, and you had come home on R&R, and I'd gotten pregnant with Lucas, and so when you got off the flight, I'm just yelling, McReynolds!
Yep.
And you heard me, and here you are, this little soldier in this sea of huge, huge guys, and you see me, and I'm up there and bigger than life, because at that time, I'm big pregnant, and so you come running up, and we lock lips, and first of all, you didn't usually kiss like that. Like, you're pretty controlled as far as public displays of affection. And this is one of those times that it was all emotion, and holy crap, you kissed me better than you did at our wedding. Yeah, and it was all on the news.
It was the Norman Rockwell sailor's kiss.
It was ridiculous, and I was so not ready for it. So I was taken totally off guard. And that's hard for someone to do, take me off guard, but I was. And so you got some shit about it, but nonetheless.
I don't care, I wasn't sorry.
Right, favorite memory. So I would say.
What are you going to do?
For me, I would say that's when you became an adult. When you had the awareness that we were more important to you than
like I just
comrades.
Yeah. I came back from war, so no one's going to tell me.
Yeah, so at that moment, I think you became an adult, and to me, that's my favorite memory. I think that I became an adult, when I started transitioning. I think for me, that's what it was. For me, I did not become an adult until I made that decision. I made the decision to become a grown adult and live my own life. And so my favorite memory has to be that, because I only had a very short window. I've only been an adult for 7 years.
I can say that's a
I'm grown. I'm grown now.
That's a favorite memory that we share.
Yeah, and that's always cool. We realized, though, that we have been married longer than we lived at home. So essentially, you and I have raised ourselves, or raised each other, longer than our parents have. So I hope that our values meet up. I always have that hope.
I think they do.
I don't know. I think that you value making racket more than I do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You are.
As a matter of fact, you'll have to post that one picture of the ninja and then the lady wearing the band suit.
Oh my God, yeah, that's who you are. It's like, I don't even know how you can make as much noise as you do, but the more quiet you try to be, the louder you are.
I am not a ninja.
Like, even a little bit. And even though
I think even my joints pop louder.
even though I'm big and loud and crazy, whenever I get into my thoughts, I get very quiet. And sometimes it makes people paranoid whenever I get quiet because they're used to me being all crazy. So I feel that way about you. Whenever you're not kind of like you are, when you are kind of quiet and still, it makes me paranoid. Like if you're not,
those are my moments of peace.
it freaks me out. So if you're not fidgeting with something, I'm like, oh my God, she's pissed. She's about to kill me. What did I do?
Yeah. I'm not often still for very long.
I know, and when you are, it's frightening. Do you feel that way? Whenever I'm quiet?
Yeah. I think most times if I become still, sometimes it's because I'm being introspective.
Yeah, that's why it's scary to me whenever you start thinking, internally, because you have scary shit in there. You're welcome. I love you.
I love you too, baby.
Did we discuss enough, do you think? Did we entertain you guys? Y'all never tell us if we're actually entertaining. You always say good show. But are we entertaining?
I don't know. I guess we are. If somebody's watching us, we're entertaining somebody.
Someone did ask me what that red ribbon is right there. That's a key. And it's a key hanging from the ceiling fan because I'm short. And I can't reach shit in this house. And
our ceiling fans are 9 feet up.
Yeah, so I can't reach that. So that is a key hanging from the ceiling fan so I can get it. But it does sort of look like an arrow going to Beth's head.
Does it? Yeah, that's
I should put a little arrow on it, right? So we've heard from the people that we were concerned about, last podcast. I said, I haven't really heard from Michelle. Well, Michelle piped up. She's been watching. She's listening. So, keep the feedback coming because I like to hear what she's up to. I don't get a whole lot of time to catch up with everybody, right? Who do you hear from? You heard from Pooja today.
I did. She was talking about, the stuff that's recently gone on in Afghanistan. And the U.S. pullout and now the smoking remains.
Because she's where?
In India.
Right. And so she has a whole different perspective than we have on kind of what's going on with the war, right?
Yes. Right now, I think she just had a lot of questions. She couldn't understand, why it happened the way it did. And I don't, I haven't done any research politically, so I didn't have really an opinion of why it actually happened. But I do have experience to know why it could have happened.
Right.
And which is what I gave her.
That's what I was about to say. Were you able to give her some sort of comfort? Maybe not comfort, but at least some knowledge?
Yeah. Knowledge, yes.
My hope is that she can come one day and visit us here in the States.
Yeah, she really wants to.
I would absolutely love to meet her. I'd love to have her on the podcast and, just experience some diversity, right? Because I'm all about diversity, people. If you have no diversity in your life, you're not really living. You're just going through the motions, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. She's really worried about the women there, really, basically, in Afghanistan. What's going to happen to them, if they get, some super mega Sharia law put on them, then they're all going to be wearing, burqas and stuff, and you're only going to be able to see their eyes.
Right.
And a lot of them just got a taste, of freedom.
And that's horrible to have to go back in the closet.
Yeah.
Because I did that. I went back in the closet. I moved out 14. I was, living as a man, or as a boy, rather. I thought I was grown at 14. So I was until, I got raped and beat. And once that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to just be a chick for a while. So I went back in the closet and it was torture because I had had a taste of what it was to live that life, right? And even though that life was hard, it was still the life that I wanted to live. And I imagine they feel the same way, even though it's hard to be out and it's hard to not follow a religious law, and be a minority. Even though that's hard, sometimes, for real change to happen, you just have to dive back in, right? You either have to elicit change or you have to change where you are. Not that they can, I'm not assuming anybody's position. I can't assume that position because I've never been there. But here in the States, if you want to be a part of something, you can be. And if you don't have to be. And that's not a freedom that they have.
That's just true.
So...
there's some shifty things that happen governmentally all over the world.
Is that a word?
Yeah, it is now. It is now. Now it is.
Governmental. What did you say? Governmentally?
Yeah, at the government level. And
look that shit up, people. I don't know if it's a word or not, but if it is, I'm going to use it. Go ahead.
It is now.
It really...
Shakespeare made up words. Why can't I?
All right, whatever.
I'm
you
a writer
go, Beth.
too.
Go ahead. Make up your shit. I'll make up words too.
But I guess if I had other places I could have been born, I'm not sorry it was here.
Yeah. I can honestly say now, when we lived in Germany for a while, we were like, oh God, we need to live here. We need to move here. We love Germany so much, and the States just haven't figured it out. But you know what? The truth is, the States does have it figured out. For us, for our liberties, for our freedoms, because that's what we're used to. It would be different if we were born in Germany, right? If we were born in Germany, we wouldn't have that clash. But we weren't. We're privileged.
I mean, I was, but I was born an American.
Yeah, whatever. Quit playing. Yes, you were born in Germany. Whoop-de-doo.
But I was born an American, so, it's still the same.
So who else have we not heard from in a while that we need to give a shout out to? I know that my Aunt Donna listens. Yeah. I know that Aunt Sarah and Lindsay listen. I want to believe that even my Uncle Frank overhears me from time to time. Because every single thing I hear about my Uncle Frank, he just sounds so damn cool. And, I hope to meet him one day, and I hope that, I at least have some traits from Mom's side, So I kind of want to see that brotherhood. I want to see what it looks like from my mom's side. We were talking this morning about your sister. Not Melody, but your other sister. I don't want to say her name because we don't have contact with her.
Right.
But your younger sister, you have had limited contact with.
Next to none, really.
Yeah, but you did mention her this morning because you were saying when you were young, you said, my little sister, and I was like, wait a minute,
right.
That's weird.
It was in regards to that commercial.
Yeah, it's so weird to hear you say my little sister. So you actually have a memory that you haven't shared with me until now. And so that was pretty cool. That's what brought up all this stuff. And it's just crazy. It's fate, see, that you picked a question about memories. Because we were talking about memories this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all these questions are different.
Oh, they're not all about memories?
No. Some of these questions are like, what's your favorite ice cream? You see?
I could do that. I don't know. I don't have a favorite.
Yeah, let's not even. You're like Switzerland about everything. You just love everything.
Well, if I say that I have
everything.
a favorite, then I feel like I'm denying myself of all the other flavors I could try.
So this is what you say. Then you don't say what's your favorite. You say
I like
what,
everything.
Then you say what is your least favorite. So you start with your least favorite.
Anything with an almond in it. Now I like almonds, but I don't like them in my ice cream.
Oh, I love nuts and everything. Even in my
fruit. You can put fruit in my ice cream. I like that.
You would.
Not nuts.
You would. And see, I'm a nut person and you're a fruit person. So you're fruity and I'm nutty. So together we're like a big fruit cake. Yeah. I'm good with that.
I'll take that.
I'm good with that. Okay, so we're wrapping up now.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to literally every one of you that are listening or watching, that y'all stick with us. We have 44 subscribers. I want to try to get to 50 though, people. So can you share us, please, with anybody who, I don't know, needs help sleeping, or wants to be entertained while they do household chores, or just wants to hear a weird old Texas trans dude ramble on about insignificant crap, right? Or a trans woman talking about an amazing career.
I think it's just the shenanigans.
It's always shenanigans. Oh, I got to mention my mullet before we leave.
Oh, right.
See?
Oh, and hi, Carol.
Oh, of course. Well, yes. I mean, Carol's always a topic of conversation. She'll be here soon. I keep saying that. She'll be here soon. And then we're going to put her up between us. And we're going to make her talk. Right?
It'll
right, Beth?
happen.
Right? You
It
promise? Will. Promise you're going to help me hold it down? Love you, Carol. Okay, guys. Thank you.